Sylvester Stallone. You hear the name, and you immediately think of Hollywood royalty. He's the ultimate underdog, the action hero who built an empire from sheer grit. From the boxing ring in Rocky to the jungles of Rambo, Stallone has defined what it means to be a tough guy for decades. His characters are famous for their resilience and their refusal to back down, but here's the thing, that tough guy persona wasn't just for the cameras. What about the fights that happened when the cameras weren't rolling? The real-life rivalries that were more intense, more personal, and sometimes more vicious than any movie script? These weren't choreographed conflicts, they were raw, ego-driven clashes with other huge stars that lasted for years, creating some of Hollywood's most infamous feuds. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on 5 celebrities Sylvester Stallone reportedly couldn't stand. We're getting into the stories of on-set brawls, friendships destroyed over money, and epic rivalries that defined a generation of movies. This is the story of Stallone's most legendary personal battles. Kicking off our list is a feud that goes all the way back to the beginning of Stallone's career. Before he was Rocky, when he was just another hungry actor, he ran into his first major Hollywood enemy, a young, equally ambitious actor named Richard Gere. Their clash is a legendary piece of Hollywood history, a story of 2 alpha dogs colliding so hard that one of them allegedly got thrown out of a car and fired from a movie. The year was 1974, and the movie was The Lords of Flatbush, a gritty drama about a gang of Brooklyn teens. The cast was full of guys on the verge of stardom, like a pre-Happy Days Henry Winkler. Stallone was playing Stanley Rosiello, and Richard Gere was his co-lead, Chico Tyrell. According to Stallone, the two just did not get along. He described Gere as strutting around in his big motorcycle jacket like he was the baddest knight at the round table. The tension started in rehearsals. Stallone said that during an improvisation for a fight scene, Gere got a bit too physical, and Sly had to tell him to lighten up. But Gere was apparently so in his own world he was impossible to deal with. But the final straw, the thing that cemented their lifelong feud, is famously known as the chicken mustard incident. During a lunch break, the cast was piled into a tiny car to stay warm. Stallone was eating a hot dog when Gere got in with a piece of chicken dripping with mustard. Stallone saw trouble coming. He remembered telling him, "If it gets on my pants you're gonna know about it." And sure enough, a greasy river of mustard landed right on Stallone's thigh. For Stallone, that was it. All the tension boiled over. He claims he elbowed Gere in the head and shoved him out of the car. The director had to make a choice. It was either Stallone or Gere. Richard Gere was fired and replaced by Perry King. Their feud didn't stop there. Years later, musician Elton John claimed he had to stop the two from getting into a fistfight over Princess Diana at a dinner party. It just goes to show that some Hollywood rivalries never really die. Number 4 is a feud that's especially rough because it wasn't between rivals, but between 2 guys who were once close friends and business partners, the one and only Bruce Willis. For years, Stallone and Willis were in the same club of elite action heroes. They were co-investors in Planet Hollywood with Arnold Schwarzenegger and were key players in Stallone's passion project, the Expendables movies. Those films were all about brotherhood, but behind the scenes, that brotherhood was about to get tested by money. Willis was in the first 2 Expendables films as the CIA agent Mr. Church, a huge get for the franchise. For the Expendables 3, Stallone made him an offer, a cool $3 million for 4 days of work in Bulgaria. For Bruce Willis, that apparently wasn't enough. Sources from the production said Willis's team came back with a shocking counteroffer, $4 million, or $1 million per day. For Stallone, who was the star, producer, and creative force behind the series, this wasn't a negotiation, it was an insult. He saw it as pure greed. The answer was a hard no, but Stallone didn't keep it private. On August 6, 2013, he dropped 2 bombshells on Twitter. The first, Willis out. Harrison Ford in. Great news. Been waiting years for this. That was a power move, swapping one legend for another. But the follow-up tweet is what really lit Hollywood on fire. Stallone wrote, "Greedy and lazy. A sure formula for career failure." There was no question who he was talking about. A rep for Stallone later confirmed the tweet was aimed directly at Willis. The public fallout was huge, shattering the on-screen image of camaraderie. For a while, it seemed their friendship was over. However, years later, Stallone expressed some regret for handling it so publicly. After Willis's tragic aphasia diagnosis became public, Stallone has spoken about his old friend with nothing but sadness and affection, saying the news kills me. It's a somber end to a feud that was once all about money, now put into perspective by the realities of life. We're halfway through the list, and the stories are only getting crazier. If you're enjoying this look into Hollywood's biggest beefs, go ahead and hit that like button for us. And make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because you won't want to miss what's coming next. Which of these feuds has shocked you the most so far? Let us know in the comments below, and let's get back to it. Coming in at number 3 is a feud born in the Rocky franchise. A relationship so intense and physically dangerous that it literally put Sylvester Stallone in the hospital. This is the story of his complicated, long-running conflict with the man he chose to be his greatest on-screen enemy, Dolph Lundgren. It all started in 1985 during casting for Rocky IV. Stallone needed someone to play the Soviet monster Ivan Drago. He wanted an actor who looked like a primitive and vicious force of nature. After thousands of auditions, he was losing hope. Then Dolph Lundgren walked in. Stallone said, "The door opened, the smoke comes in, the shoulders this wide, everything was perfect. The blue eyes are staring into my soul." He was the real Terminator. Stallone's first thought was pure hatred. "I hate this friggin' guy," he recalled thinking. "He's just too good-looking, too perfect. And if I loathe him, I'm sure the world will." That hate at first sight was great for the movie, but it got real on set. During the final fight scene, Stallone wanted realism. He told Lundgren to forget the choreography for a minute and just go out there and try to clock me. He wanted to feel the power to make it look real. He got his wish. Lundgren, a serious martial artist, did what he was told. One brutal uppercut to Stallone's chest did major damage. That night, Stallone's heart began to swell and his blood pressure shot up to 260. He was flown to a hospital and put in intensive care. Doctors said the injury, where the heart slams against the chest wall, is usually seen in head-on car crashes. He spent 9 days in the hospital, but their rocky relationship didn't end there. They reunited for The Expendables, and Lundgren said Stallone was incredibly harsh on him during one scene, berating him in front of the crew until he was in tears. He almost walked off the movie before Stallone came and apologized. More recently, in 2022, they clashed again when a Drago spin-off was announced without Stallone's knowledge. Stallone went on Instagram and blasted the project, writing, "I once had nothing but respect for Dolph, but he never told me about what was going on." Lundgren quickly clarified it was a misunderstanding, and they've since patched things up. Their history remains one of the most physically and emotionally intense of Stallone's career. At number 2 is a feud that wasn't about professional jealousy, but about personal betrayal. In the mid-80s, Sylvester Stallone and Eddie Murphy were actually good friends and were even planning to work on projects together. The trouble started, ironically, not with Beverly Hills Cop, the movie Stallone famously turned down and made Murphy a megastar, but with its sequel. The whole thing blew up over Stallone's then-wife, Bridget Nielsen. Murphy, as a favor to his friend, had hired Nielsen to play the villain in Beverly Hills Cop 2. But once filming started, rumors began to fly that Murphy and Nielsen were having an affair on set. When Stallone heard the gossip, he was furious. He reportedly called Murphy directly and confronted him. Murphy strongly denied everything, telling Rolling Stone years later, "I guess somewhere in the back of his head, he'll never really know the truth." Sly and I liked each other, too, but after the weirdness with Bridget, it was ruined. For Stallone, the trust was broken. Their friendship disintegrated, and plans for them to collaborate on other movies fell apart. The two reportedly avoided each other for years, with Stallone even leaving a party once after seeing Murphy arrive. This feud wasn't about box office numbers or a botched stunt, it was about a deeply personal accusation that destroyed a friendship, and now, for the #1 spot. The feud of all feuds. The clash of the action titans. This wasn't just a spat, it was a public war that defined the entire 1980s. Of course, we're talking about the one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger. Of all the conflicts in Stallone's life, none was as public or as flat-out entertaining as his rivalry with Schwarzenegger. This wasn't about one incident, it was about pure professional pride. It all kicked off at the 1977 Golden Globes. Rocky had made Stallone a global sensation, and he expected to own the night. But then Arnold Schwarzenegger, the charismatic Austrian oak, won the award for New Star of the Year. As Stallone watched Rocky lose in other categories, he claimed Arnold was laughing at him. When Rocky finally won for Best Motion Picture, Stallone allegedly grabbed a bowl of flowers and threw it at Schwarzenegger's head. The war was on. What followed was a decade-long arms race of muscle and ego. They trashed each other in the press. Their movies became a game of one-upmanship. If Stallone used a big knife in Rambo, Arnold got a bigger one for Predator. If Stallone killed 40 people, Arnold had to kill 80. In a 2024 interview, Stallone admitted the competition was a huge motivator for him. Arnold, for his part, admitted he started it by opening up my mouth, saying stupid things. The rivalry hit a new peak of genius sabotage in the early 90s. Arnold was sent the script for a comedy called *Stop. Or My Mom Will Shoot Star. He knew it was garbage. So, he leaked to the press that he was desperate for the role, knowing Stallone was trying to get into comedy. The bait worked. Stallone aggressively pursued the part, thinking he was stealing a great movie from his enemy. The film flopped, and Arnold was thrilled, but as the 90s went on, their rivalry cooled. The Planet Hollywood restaurant venture forced them to work together, and an unlikely friendship formed. They finally buried the hatchet, starring together in The Expendables and Escape Plan. Today, they're close friends who trade playful insults online. It's a Hollywood epic, a story of two sworn enemies who pushed each other to be better and found friendship on the other side of their war, from mustard on his pants to million-dollar demands, and from a war of muscles to friendships broken by rumors. Sylvester Stallone's career is defined as much by his feuds as his films. These weren't just petty squabbles. They were battles over respect, money, and control in the cutthroat world of Hollywood. They show a man who is just as passionate and unwilling to back down in real life as the characters he played. Some of these rivalries, like his war with Schwarzenegger, turned into real friendships. Others ended with bitterness or were softened by time and tragedy. But each one gives us a fascinating look behind the curtain, proving that the drama off-screen is often just as compelling as what we see in the movies. What do you think? Which of these legendary feuds was the most intense? Were these clashes justified, or just massive egos running wild? Let us know your take in the comments section below. And if you want more deep dives into the untold stories of Hollywood legends, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks for watching.